Okay, great. I think we can get started now that everyone's here. I'll briefly introduce myself. My name is Yufei. I'm the International Graduate Student Coordinator at School of Graduate Studies. And today we have 6 student panelists who are current international graduate students, and they're here to answer your question about going to McMaster, attending school, and at the same time living in Hamilton. And now I will hand over the mic to the panelists so they can introduce themselves. I have them arranged alphabetically by first name so we don't have everyone talking at once during the introductions. And for our panelists, when you introduce yourself, please include your name, your program, how long you've been in Hamilton or how long you've been with McMaster, and something about yourself, or about where you where you consider your home country is. I will start with Anthony.
Morning, everyone. So my name is Anthony Kwashi. I'm originally from Ghana, and I've been in Hamilton and at McMaster University for 3.5 years. So I came in January 2017. I came in as a master's student. However, I transferred to PhD, and I'm currently about rounding up my second year. So meaning I'm in my third year of my PhD, and my program is chemical engineering.
Thank you, Anthony. And now I have JC.
Hi, everyone. My name is JC. I'm initially from France, but I moved to Canada 5 years ago. I came as a master's student, and then I moved on to PhD. So I'm in the third year of my PhD in physics right now. And I'm one of the co-president of the International Graduate Student Association.
Perfect. Thank you, JC. And now we have Lakani.
Hi guys, I'm Lekhani. I'm going into my second year of MSc in Computer Science. I'm originally from India. To be more specific, I'm from this region called Kolkata, which speaks Bengali. And yeah, I've been in Hamilton for about a year now. I'll complete 1 year on 21st August.
Thank you, Lakani. And we have Miriam.
Hello, everyone. I'm originally from Iran. I have been here for about 10 months. And the program that I'm studying now is the MEI program, the Master of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. It's the master program. And it has been a while. It's not a year that I'm here.
Thank you, Miriam. And Mina.
Hi everyone, I'm Mina Yu. You guys can always call me Mina. And I'm in my film program right now, and it's my second year of that program. I have been in Hamilton for almost 1 year, and I came from China originally. So basically for myself, I enjoy hiking, swimming in the daily time, and recently I started skateboard in the quarantine period. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Mina. And finally, last but not least, Sebastian.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sebastian. I'm originally from Germany. I'm in the physics department. I'm doing my PhD there, and I'm also in the third year at SJC. And I'm also the second co-president of IGSA.
Perfect. Thank you, Sebastian. So here are all of our student panelists. We have Anthony, JC, Lakani, Marian, Mina, and Sebastian. Thank you for joining us. And please feel free to ask all of our panelists questions through the Q&A function. And if you have any question that's specifically for one panelist, please let me ask that in the Q&A as well. And so our panelists today will be sharing their personal experience as a student. They won't be able to answer any questions about immigration or study permits or about your program processes, about enrollment. We do have staff members in the background. We have Anna, Natalie, and Andrea. They will be answering those kind of questions in the background through the chat function as well. But our students will only be able to answer questions about their experience. So I have a first question for all of our panelists. So I understand you all were living in another country before you arrived in Hamilton or arrived in Canada in general. Is there anything that you found strange about Canada when you first got here, or when you still find it strange now that you're here for a while? How about we'll start with JC.
I found I always take that example. That was really what kind of shocked me, is that people have a different time schedule here. So what I mean is that if you come from Europe, people tend to have dinner and leave a little bit outside a little bit longer at night. They kind of stay and go for dinner around 8. When here everything is shifted a little bit earlier, so like around 6 p.m. or something like that. So that's something that was really weird to me. Is the first time I went out for dinner or just a drink, and you go at 8, it's already late for most people. So you kind of have to shift the schedule and have dinner earlier, and then just to be more in sync. Or even like all the events from the department were super early. We usually have a barbecue. I mean, not this year, but usually we have a barbecue with the department, and it's at 6 in the afternoon, which is not my dinner time usually. But if you want to be in sync with everybody, you have to sync on that. So that was my main, that was my shock. We'll say it that way.
Perfect. Thank you, JC. And Lakani, do you have something in mind?
Yeah, so what JC said was actually absolutely correct. I had the same, well, I wouldn't say shock, but I was slightly surprised with what happened. Also, the second thing, I'm coming from a very populated country where traffic rules are all here and there. So I found that cars stop for you while you cross the road. That was a little weird in the in lanes, not on the main roads. So keep that in mind. Also, as a pro tip, maybe we underestimate the Canadian sun a lot, but it's actually a lot stronger than the Indian sun. So that shocked me a little as well.
Oh, that shocked me too, because I was always told that Canada is cold.
Exactly, and the summer completely tanned me.
Yeah,
Month.
especially this summer too, hey?
Yeah.
Mina, do you want to share something?
Yeah, there's one thing I have to mention is that I feel like people here, they don't take nap at noon. I mean, I used to take nap even I was in primary school, and people will give like 2 hours break at noon, and we use that time to take a nap. But after I came here, I feel like, oh, I don't have that time. What should I do now? And I feel so sleepy. I know I have to take coffees or do something like to refresh myself. I mean, after 1 year, I have to use it, but still, yeah, it's a very, very big shocking to me.
Oh, that's nice. I wish I have that.
Oh, really? Because I saw you born here.
Yeah, but naps are always nice.
That's true.
Sebastian, do you have something in mind?
Yeah, so one thing that surprised me a lot is the size of the country, actually, because I'm coming from Germany, and I used to live in a province which measures like 50 kilometers in diameter, so it's easy to travel from place to place. And here, you don't measure distances in kilometers anymore, but you say, oh, it takes me like a couple of hours to drive there. This was something completely new for me.
Right, I heard that before too. Thank you, Sebastian. Miriam?
Yeah, I think I can add something because it's based on my own experience back in my country, because I was the person that I speak up most of the time, but there I came across with many people in my country that they were shy and it was difficult for them to talk in public places. So when I came to this country, what I found was that here there are lots of people that they're all of them, they are open minded. I mean, if you have anything, like if you're a shy person, it's difficult for you to talk in a public place, here is the place that you can talk, and we can like change the whole of your personality, even if it's difficult. I mean, for many people, if you talk in a public place, if you talk between like 5 or 6 people, it may sound like difficult task. But here, because everyone they are open to hear what you are saying, what's in your mind, and they like you to speak up and talk about your opinions. And this was like shocking for me, that this place is full of like those people.
Oh, that's really nice. Thank you. Anthony?
Yeah, so for me, I would say it's just got to do with meeting strangers. One thing that was pretty shocking for me is how people easily engage in small talk when they meet you and when they smile
Oh,
too.
yeah, small
Yeah.
talk.
So back home, let's say you're walking and then your face inadvertently meets another person, you're pretty much just going to look straight ahead or look away. But here you look into someone else's face and then the person smiles back. And if you happen to end up in the same elevator, you can be sure that you're going to engage in small talk, which is quite nice, right? It removes the awkwardness in meeting a stranger. So that was pretty shocking for me.
That's interesting. I know that a lot of people like it, but also a lot of people hated the small talk, even for locals.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it can be awkward, but then it takes the edginess away, right? Because
Right.
especially for say being in an elevator, you don't know how to position yourself. It gets super awkward, but with a small talk, things get straightened out a bit, and that can be helpful sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
especially if you're lost and you want directions or something.
Yeah. And we have a question about where you live. So the question asks, which is a good area to live, which has condos? So they found that downtown has condos, but looks dangerous. Westdale is nice, but has no condos. Does any one of you live in a condo right now? And if so, could you just talk a little bit about your experience finding housing, or just the safety that you feel around your area? And if not, then if you feel safe around where you live, and how did you find your housing? Who wants to start?
I'm going to take this question.
Perfect.
Actually, I'm not living in a condo, but I live in an apartment. And
Okay,
I live in 100, Min at 100. It's a downtown apartment. So for myself, I can't tell that there's anything dangerous in downtown. But maybe if you like go outside very late, like after 12, maybe like you will meet some trams or some bad things. But I feel like in the daytime it's okay. And yeah, and I took bus to the school and take bus come back because we can take bus for free, which is very, very good for me. And actually, I moved from a house near school to this apartment. Um, the reason why I decided this is that I feel like it's sometimes you meet like strange people in your house because you cannot control who will move in or who will move out. So you meet different peoples, and they may have like different schedules, different habits, and yeah. So sometimes you may meet some people that are respectful or hard to get along with. So I just cannot bear my roommate anymore. So I move out to an apartment and find a classmate of mine, so we can live together, which will like make my life much easier. So for the condo, I think the price will be a little pricey for the apartment, but it do has more like better environment and better utilities. Yeah, and for the apartment, oh, did the question ask like how to find the apartment or the place? Yufi?
yeah, well, it'll be helpful because I know
Oh,
some
yeah.
students will be here and they will look for housing when they get here.
Oh, yeah. Actually, so one of the general method is you can like type the apartment or condo in Google Map and click it one by one to see which the place it is. And but it's very time consuming, right? And the second method, which I will highly recommend, is you may contact your like schoolmate, our classmate, or the people you know in have already in McMaster for like almost for at least 1 year, and like they may want someone to take over their lease, and yeah, you can take over their lease directly from them, which will be much more easier than you sign contract with the apartment, because they have been signed signed a contract for like 2 years, and the price at that time was much cheaper than now. During this time, the rent fee is raising and raising crazy. So yeah.
Thank you. So thank you for bringing up some really good points, and especially for the word condos and apartments. I found, at least I personally found, they're pretty interchangeable. You're looking for one unit in a big building. Apartments are usually 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and same with condos. So for our panelists, if you have experience of living in an apartment, or if you want to comment about safety in downtown Hamilton, please do so as well. I also want to mention that we did have a housing webinar that was recorded, and is a 1 hour webinar, and you're welcome to look at that after this event as well. Does anyone else want to comment on living in apartments or condos, or just safety in downtown?
Yeah, I can comment on this for a little bit, because also one thing that one should pay attention on is the location of the apartment with respect to the distance to McMaster. You find quite especially cheaper options, let's say in maybe in Ancaster, but also up on the mountain in Hamilton. But it's typically not as convenient to reach McMaster by bus when you live in one of these areas. So you should make sure that the apartment that you get is kind of within 1 bus line from the campus. That's what I in general recommend people doing. And then for the safety, I live here also in downtown, and I actually don't feel safe. Sorry, I actually feel safe at night and all day long. I mean, you find sometimes weirder people in some areas, but typically it's a very safe area to live in.
Thank you. And Miriam, I know that you may have your family here as well. Could you comment on just the safety and what kind of housing you have?
Yeah, sure. Actually, we are living in a house, like it's a 3-floor house, but we are living in the 2nd floor, and we are living with the landlord. I mean, it's a new experience for me if it happens, because for me it was at the beginning was like shocking living with the landlord. But I mean, it's not a big deal. You can deal with it because people here, I mean, they are nice, decent, and it was really good. It was a great experience because we make friends, and what is here really important is you can make as friends as you can. So I'm living with my daughter and my husband, and I think that actually we are living in the downtown. I mean, here is really safe because I have a 3-year-old daughter. Anytime that I go out, like except night, it's safe and it's really good here because nobody is doing. It's fine. I mean, there is nothing wrong with going out. It's because here Hamilton, if you compare it with other cities in Ontario, it's one of the best city for living, and it's a safe city. So with that part, I think it's fine.
Thank you, Miriam. Let's move on to the next question. I see 2 students has asked about transportation system. So how is it? Is it easy to get around? And can you describe like how was your experience with public transit in Hamilton, and maybe even beyond Hamilton? Lakani, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes. So I think when you're coming, you will get something called a Presto card, and it allows you to travel for free inside Hamilton only. But I've seen that it gets you pretty much anywhere. I've roamed the whole of Hamilton in the last 2 or 3 months since I've had my holidays, and it's the most efficient thing ever. You can go anywhere. There's also, like, outside Hamilton, you have something called Go Transit buses, which also get you, but that's not, I won't say it's pricey, but it's not free. And going by car is a lot cheaper if you know how to drive, but I don't know how to drive yet, so I don't expect anyone who steps into the country will know how to drive. But yeah, it's the most efficient transit ever. If you're from a country which already has a very good transportation system in place, like I was, it's even better than that. So yeah. and the bus drivers are friendly. So actually, I'd like to give you guys this example because when I first came to Hamilton, I didn't know anyone, and I was supposed to get all my permits in order. And the people who helped me around were the bus drivers. They told me where to go, they told me when to get off from the bus, and they gave me all kinds of information which absolutely would not have been possible. Or, I don't think I would have received this kind of treatment anywhere else. So, yeah, I love the Canadian transport system, or specifically the HSR, because the bus drivers are so friendly and also because it's really efficient. So, yeah.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Does anyone else have comments about the transit, JC?
Yeah, so I agree that the bus transit is really good, but there's also other options you can use. If you like biking, there's the share bike system that was just saved, so you can definitely use it now. I love it, especially during the pandemic time, because I don't necessarily feel always comfortable using the bus. So biking, you're just outside, so I like that better. It's really good if you can go anywhere downtown. It's really easy to bike. You just have to be careful the roads you use. Don't use the main roads, but if you use the side roads, it's pretty safe. And that's something I use all the time right now.
Thank you, JC. Before I let you go, there's related questions about biking. So the student is asking how difficult it is to buy or find a new road bike in the next few months. They know about the SOBI initiative, but they like their own road bike. So is it advisable to ship their own bike from their home country, or can they get one in Canada?
Right now, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for a used bike, you'll find one. If you're looking for a new bike, because everybody's buying bikes right now, it's way harder. But I'm hoping that it's gonna kind of fade out a little bit, and they will just have more. But I don't know what kind of bike they're looking for, but I think you can find good bikes on Kijiji, and they should be good enough. I think it would be really expensive to ship the bike. You'd have to look, but what I would do is I would go on Kijiji and look for a used bike and compare the price of those bikes to what you'd have to pay if you were to ship the bike.
Know
That's
that
what
okay. Sorry. I know that friends of mine shipped their bikes for, or could take their bikes on an airplane for like 100 or 200 bucks. So it's worth it. If your bike is worth like a couple of $1,000s, or if you have a really fancy kind of road bike, then it's definitely considering shipping it, transporting it here to this country. But if you have like a $200, $300 bike, then it's easy or fairly easy to get here another one or a used one, and you find them quite easily, I would say.
Thank you, Sebastian. I was going to say, if you have a very particular bike, or if you really, really like your bike, it might be worth it to ship it, but I heard that it's expensive too. Anthony, do you have any comments about just biking or public transit? And I have a question here about parking on campus as well. I'm not sure if any of you actually drive to campus, but could you comment on how you get to campus and how you find the experience?
So yeah, I don't have a car, so I can
Perfect.
yeah, I can give specifics on parking on campus, but I do know that you do pay for it, and there are a number of parking lots. The most expensive ones are pretty close to campus, and the cheaper ones are somewhat far. So there is parking, and if you need to bring a car to campus, you will definitely find parking. Just that you're most likely to pay for it. So I would move away slightly from the transport moving around Hamilton. So I believe much has been said on the public transit already. So I would like to comment on driving. So the nice thing is that you don't necessarily have to get a Canadian driver's license before you can drive here. So I think you have a window of about 6 months to use the driver's license from your home country. And for those coming from countries like France or US, or I guess a number of countries from Europe, you have this exchange program where all you need to do is just go to the drive test center to exchange your licenses, which is easy. However, if you come from a country like I do, there is a system in place for you to exchange your driver's license. However, you would have to take more tests. So if you're someone who is into driving, for the first 6 months, you'll be free from trouble. Then after 6 months, you look into your respective exchange program. Yeah, so I
Thank you,
guess.
Anthony. I'm so glad you drive. Does anyone else here drive or park on campus? JC?
I don't park on campus, but I have a friend that does. And I think one of the questions about the parking was, is it cold in the winter to drive? So that's the thing. Like if you want to pay a lot of money, you can park straight out of your building. I mean, pretty much there. But then it's really, really expensive. Or you can go to where most of the students go, which I think is Lot M. And in that case, you have to either you walk, or I think there's a shuttle that will bring you to campus. So I would say in the summer you can easily walk to campus, or in the winter, if you find it's too cold, you can get the shuttle. But Hamilton doesn't get too crazy in the winter, so I would say most of the days you could probably still walk. And on the one day where it's really bad, then you can probably take the shuttle. And then in terms of driving, I drive, and I find it. The traffic around Toronto can get really bad, but other than that, it's pretty easy to. I find it pretty easy to drive, and you get on the highway pretty quickly. And once you're on the highway, it's really easy to drive here.
Thank you, JC.
With some oh,
please go ahead. Yeah.
sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, I have. I don't drive myself, but I have friends who drive. And if you all are trying to get around the expensive parking system, I think it takes a lot of money per semester or per year. I'm not entirely sure what the amount is, but I have a lot of friends who park at cafes outside McMaster. So there are 2 designated spots where all my friends park. One's in front of this cafe called Williams Fresh Cafe, and the other Little House. So I guess once you all get here, and if you all do want to park your cars, those are also good options.
Yeah, I would just advise to be kind of careful with parking there, because if you don't go into the cafe, or if they found, they might ticket you. And I know that some students park in the neighborhood around McMaster as well, but also be careful with the time limit and everything. Yeah, but that's a really good insight. Let's move on to the next question. So I have a really interesting question. Is Hamilton small? Do you get bored? Mina, do you have an insight into this?
Well, it depends. It depends where you came from. I mean, if you came from a really big city like Shanghai or Peking, yeah, definitely a small city. But for me, it's not that small, because especially when you don't have a car and you have to take the bus, go to everywhere, I think, okay, that I'm enough. It's the farthest way I'm going to get. So for me, it's not that small. It's pretty big. Actually, it's the 6th biggest city in Canada. So it's not that bad. And do I get bored? No, I don't. I never get bored. I mean, I have to spend lots of time dealing with my homework and dealing with my professor, and the lifetime I can explore the new foods and the new bubble tea and cocktail and new coffee, and and I have lots of new things to explore, and they have lots of different streets here. And in each different streets, they have different characters. For example, in downtown, there are lots of Chinese restaurants, and in Lockheed Street, and there are lots of Canadian local restaurants. And, there are various new things here for me. So up till now, I haven't got bored, but maybe for longer, after I exploring all of them, so maybe I will get bored at that time.
Thank you. That's really great insight. Anthony, you've been here for a while. Are you bored yet?
No, not bored. There's so much to do. And the nice thing about Hamilton is that it's close to Mississauga and Toronto. So if you are from a big city, or you like things big, or you like things busier, it's easy to get to Toronto. But outside that, I think Hamilton is fine. It has pretty much everything. So as Minion mentioned, there are bars, there are restaurants, and if you like a nightlife, there are nightclubs. I mean, there's a whole lot to do, and it would take you a bit of time to exhaust all these options before you will need to move out. So for me personally, no. And if you like hiking too, there are really good places for you to go for hiking. So there's the Dundas Peak, there's Tiffany Falls. So there's a whole lot to do. For shopping, there are a few places, and the nice thing is that some of these things are outside. So if you live close to campus, you can go to Lancaster, but then there's language that takes a bit of time. So yeah, there are quite a few things to do, and they are pretty diverse also. So yeah, for me, no, not yet. I haven't exhausted options yet.
Thank you. Lakani, do you have anything to add?
Well, this is actually chiming in with what was said absolutely at the beginning, is you have to be mindful of the times. So for example, if you want to go to a mall, you have to know that it's going to close at 6. So you have to get everything done in the morning. But yeah, Hamilton's very close to a lot of big places. Apart from Toronto, if you drive 30 minutes down south, there's Niagara as well. And that's always beaming, full of people. Yeah, I haven't gotten bored yet because I haven't been here a very long time, and I'm still exploring the place. It's big when you find out how much you have to walk, but it's small when you find out how many options you have after 8 o'clock.
Perfect. And Miriam, do you have anything to add, especially for your family or your experience?
Yeah, I think because I have been here for a while, I mean less than 1 year, so maybe it's new to me. But I mean, it's not a boring. It's not a boring city. You can go to other cities if you have a car. It may sound better, but totally. I mean, in summer you can do lots of stuff in summer in Hamilton because there are lots of trails and lots of parks. So for me, it wasn't boring.
What about you, Sebastian? And Sebastian, when you speak, can I ask you to just go a little closer to the mic? Because some students said they were having trouble hearing you.
Sure, I can try because my mic is actually on my headphones.
Ah.
So sorry. So I can try to speak a bit louder. Yeah, I also never get actually bored here in Hamilton. The city is big compared to a city that I'm used to live in, and I like going outside and doing outdoor activities. So, and the city provides a lot of fun hikes around downtown, which are very in close proximity to where I live, and that's a lot of fun to do actually. Can you actually hear me now better, or?
Yeah, you're actually a lot louder now.
Okay, great. Then I should just speak a bit louder.
Thank you. JC, are you bored yet?
No, I'm not. I think though it depends on what you're expecting. I've had experience with people that were more into culture, museums, and that you might actually run out of options in Hamilton. But again, there's Toronto, I don't know, an hour away. So it's not a huge deal. I come from Paris, and I was actually relieved when I arrived in Hamilton because it was smaller. I was so tired of rush hours and everything. Here, there is a rush hour, but it's nothing to compare to Paris. So in the end, for me, it was a good trade-off going to a smaller city. But my friends that came from Paris, they had a harder time because they were more into the culture side and museums and stuff like that. So really depends what you're into. If you're into outdoor, I would say Hamilton is the best place you can live in. Like it's much better than Toronto. It's much better than other places. So it really depends on people. But for me, no, I'm not bored.
Speaking of outside of Hamilton, so I see some questions about going outside. So one student really want to go to Niagara Falls and they want to do the go-karting. Have any of you been there or like through public transit? Is it easy to get to?
It's not easy, but it's doable.
It's doable.
I think at least when I did it, and it was 5 years ago, so it might have improved. You had to take an HSR bus to a GO stop and then take the GO to Niagara. But that was, I think they have more buses right now. For me, you had to time it well, but I think now it's a little bit better. I know it's better in the summer than in the winter. In the winter, they kind of, because less people go, they have less buses, but.
Yeah. Also, just to add that question, is it expensive to get there, or what's the best time to visit and avoid crowds? If any of you specializes in Niagara Falls.
I think in general,
Right, I can go on that. I think there isn't a special time to visit Niagara in terms of beauty because every season looks different and every season looks beautiful. I was there in the summer; it was pretty cold, um, and I sort of regret it. But when it came to the beauty, no regrets. Like so different. It looked wide. It was so beautiful. Um, Summer is also beautiful because it's all green. The water is flowing. Like so, when it comes to season, I wouldn't say I would rather encourage you to um, see Niagara in all seasons. And what you just have to be particular about is the dressing, especially in winter. As to when to avoid crowds, there hasn't been a single time that I didn't see so many people in Niagara. So that I'm not sure there is a time for that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. Has anyone driven to Niagara? Like, is it if you rent a car and go with a few friends, would it be cheaper, Lakani?
Yeah, so I did that recently. It's not cheap. It's more or less the same price, depends on how many people you have. So we rented and then we split the petrol, and it pretty much came to the same amount if I took a bus. Going by bus is difficult because it doesn't drop you like in the middle of the tourist area. It drops you pretty much on the outskirts near a certain McDonald's, which enters Niagara. So you'll have to walk a little. That's one problem if you're going by public transit. Whereas if you're going by car, you can park right in the middle of the tourist area. So Niagara has like, it's very, very, I won't say very crowded, but it's really popular during the summers. And so like when you guys, I don't know if you're like coming, so I don't know if this is the correct thing to say, but up till October, it's kind of crowded. After that, it all simmers down. And yeah, it's not cheaper to go. I won't say it's cheaper to go by car. It's pretty much the same thing. Unless you have your own car, that's cheaper.
Yeah.
No, because then there is parking. Parking is crazy in Niagara.
Ah, yeah.
Summer they charge you 30. They charge you flat rate, which can go up to $30.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
I think in the end it's probably cheaper. Unless you're 4 people, it's probably cheaper with bus.
Yeah.
But as you said, you're kind of outside of the main area, so you just have to be willing to walk a little bit.
Yeah.
So I want to I rented the car for like $40 and I paid $40 for parking as well. So it's not, not cheap.
Okay.
$40 for parking. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, I parked for like the whole day. So
Oh, the whole day. Oh, okay, yeah. Because for me, I usually time it and I go for like say 3 hours.
okay.
I don't park too close, so I pay what $3 an hour. The walking is not too bad. You just have to be able to like time it because there are prime areas like when you park you're going to pay a lot, but then just outside those, and it isn't too bad. Like you don't have to walk so much. And the nice thing is that you get to see other things too, right? So it's not like it's all boring until you get to the main fall. You get to see other things on the side too. So yeah, I try to watch out for that. And with the rental, you sort of have to time it because
Yeah.
there are times where you can get cheaper rates, but I think for now the average is like 40. Yeah.
And like the closer you get to the falls, I think the more expensive it is. And towards the back, like there are these motels and which have parking areas as well. Those are a lot cheaper.
True.
Exactly. So renting a car would be faster than taking the bus for sure, but it just like the cost, and the parking is spot on. The closer you are to the actual falls, the more expensive it's gonna get. I have a question about Canadian winter. So the student heard the temperature will be very low. Could you comment on your first Canadian winter, so to speak? Let's start with Mina.
Yeah, actually, I came from like a north part from China, and in my hometown, it's even more cold than here. So
wow.
yeah, so like I used to it quickly. I mean, yeah, it's pretty fine. Yeah, to me, I don't feel any difficult to the winter here.
That's great.
Yeah, cause yeah.
Anyone? Miriam, could you comment on the winter?
Yeah, I think the winter here is is okay because I have used to this weather like Nina. Because I mean, it's not as cold. If you have the proper clothing, then it's fine. Because even if I have a child, if you just buy a proper clothes and decent clothes, it's fine. You can tolerate the weather.
Anyone else want to comment on the Lakani?
Yes, I actually come from a very humid area in India, and I'd never seen snow in my entire life before this. But yeah, the winter wasn't it when it first started snowing. I was almost in denial. I didn't want to get out of the house, but the winters are actually pretty nice once you start experiencing them. You just need proper clothes, and you definitely need proper boots. That's very important. Otherwise, you won't be able to walk around anywhere. Yeah.
Thank you. And Anthony, you were saying something?
Yeah, and it pretty much depends on what you want to do, right? So Hamilton is not too bad because we're close to the lake.
Yeah.
However, if you were to move to the western part of Canada, then you're in for real trouble. Because I have a friend in Edmonton, and whilst we are battling, say, 18 degrees and making so much noise about it being so cold, he's dealing with like -40, right? So if let's say you want to go for a trip in the winter, then you are somewhat out of luck, because I know places like Ottawa gets pretty cold, Montreal gets pretty cold, Edmonton gets pretty cold. However, Hamilton is not too bad. And as was already mentioned, you need really, really good boots. The regret I had for going to Niagara in the winter was because my feet got too cold and I was completely shocked. And it's strange because I've been here for like 2 years before going to Niagara in the winter, but then I wasn't prepared for that. Like that sort of cold, I wasn't prepared, and I had to learn that lesson the hard way.
Oh.
Everybody talks about winter in Canada, but nobody talks about summer in Canada. And I found, like, especially in the last few days, it has been so, last few weeks, it has been so humid. I like winter much better than what we had in the last few weeks, because if you don't have AC, you just sweat constantly. So, I mean, if you come from a humid area, you're probably used to it, but I was not used to that. And so, yes, winter can be cold some days, but summer can be really hot some days too.
Yeah, I think we have a reputation for winter, just being in Canada and all that. There's actually another follow-up question about the winter. Could you suggest winter wear, when and where to buy them? Where can they get it at a good deal if they don't really sell winter wear back in their home country, so they need to get it here?
I would recommend wearing actually layers, because when you go from places, especially in winter, you often need to change clothing. You don't need your jackets in the house, and when you go out, you quickly need to layer up. So wearing multiple layers makes it actually easy to adapt to the different conditions while kind of traveling to the country at this time. And getting clothes is fairly easy, especially I would say it's easier than, let's say, for instance, in Europe, where you get winter clothes, but it's not comparable to what you need here in Canada for sure. So I would recommend looking for sales, which are often starting like in October or November, and especially Black Friday sales are very common, and they have a lot of cheap options for good winter clothes.
Thank you, Sebastian. Anyone else? Miriam?
Yeah, I agree with Sebastian, because it was my experience at the beginning. I was new to this country, and when it comes, like when I heard about the winter, the first snow and the first like the cold temperature, I wore just one clothes, but it was so warm, and I had a presentation, and during the presentation I was like I couldn't do anything. So it's better to have like some layers. Then, for example, if there's something you just want to take out, it's fine. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, the temperature difference too, because they'll feel like you're still in the summer inside and you only need the jacket and the layers outside. That's a really good point. Anyone else bought their winter gears here or have any recommendations?
So if you're looking for winter wear in terms of brand, I'd say Mountain Warehouse pretty much sells the best jackets out here. Also, like I said previously, you find these specific jackets, which I actually haven't seen. There might be somewhere else, but I haven't seen them yet in any other country. So it's like they layer two jackets together and zip it up. So you can wear one layer if you want, and you can put the other layer and zip them together as well. Those jackets are very common out here, and they're very good for insulation. we can look for those. So yeah, Black Friday sales will be here probably if you'll come. And yeah.
Thank you. And I want to go back to one of our previous questions because this is very important to students. So if you're a visible minority, like if you wear something that indicate that you're from another culture, or you like myself, I am a visible minority as well. Do you find that you actively avoid certain areas? Do you feel safe in Hamilton or on campus? And do you have positive or negative encounters from that area? Does anyone want to start the comment?
Yeah, can
Okay.
obviously I'm from Africa, Ghana, right? And I wouldn't say I've really encountered any of those bad drops. I pretty much go anywhere, and I don't know if because I don't look out for it, but I haven't had a really bad experience that made me go, "Phew, I need to stay away from this area," right? So personally, I haven't had that experience. That said, if you check reports on Hamilton, there may be some cases. I don't think they're up to 10. I remember seeing a news item that counted the number of cases in Hamilton, and I don't think it's up to 10. And if I'm to say, okay, if I'm to point to an area, I'm not sure I can do that. So personally, you'll be fine going wherever you want to go.
Thanks, Anthony. Yeah, I would just want to bring that question up from another student because this is obviously very important to everyone, the safety when they go to a new country. And these are the things that if you feel you need to speak up, if you feel you have experienced something, please don't keep it to yourself. Let us know. The university may be able to address that, and we will do our best to support you in anything we need. And I know that finding your community is also very important. So there's another question. So this student want to ask Lakani specifically, but I think eventually everyone can comment as well. So Lakani, are you aware or are in an active student club or association for South Asian or Indian students in at McMaster? Are these groups active, or do they have virtual meetings? What are they up to if you're involved?
So currently, I think there's an Indian Students Association, and there's an Indian Graduate Students Association as well. The Indian Students Association is more run by undergraduate students, so I don't participate too much in that. But the Graduate Students Association is pretty active. We don't have a lot of virtual meetings, and the group has become pretty stagnant. But while the college was open, we'd have like regular meets and say biryani nights or Hindi movie nights and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty active right now. It's really stagnant right now. It's not doing anything. But yeah, I think once people come in, we'll start doing stuff again. So yeah.
Thank you. And I know that JC and Sebastian co-presidents the IGSA, and Anthony is also involved in the student association. Anthony, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Yeah. So one of the original co-founders of the African Caribbean Graduate Students Association. During the COVID era, we've been somewhat silent, but then before that, people were pretty active. So we do events once in a while. We try to somewhat make it different. So when the African Cup of Nations was in session, we organized a few watches. So we got students together, we got some snacks, and then we watch some of the matches. You do have games nights and things like that. Well, one of the things we try to do is to just connect people with people, right? So it's African Caribbean, but then that is still quite a big group. So what we try to do is identify where you come from and see if we can get you in touch with people from kind of like countries close to your country. So you would realize that you find a bunch of Nigerians and Ghanaians moving together. You find Caribbeans tending to move in their own kind of groups and the likes. So we do help with things like that. And once in a while we come together as a group to have fun. So yeah, if you're looking for these kind of groups, for sure, you can get in touch. And the place to look for these kind of groups is the GSA website, because all graduate students group are registered under the GSA. So if you want more information, you can go to the GSA website and then check under clubs, and you will find the respective clubs. So as like I mentioned already, if there's an Indian group, you should be able to find contact information on that website.
Thank you, Anthony. Before I let you go, there's a question specifically for you as well. They're asking about what is the MACC exactly, and how does it help in doing project or getting a job in the industrial partners of MACC?
Interesting because right after this meeting, I will be joining the group for the annual MACC meeting. So MACC stands for McMaster Advanced Control Consortium. So this is a group in chemical engineering, and it's made up of graduate students, professors, and participating industrial companies. So when you come to the MACC, you realize that a bunch of the projects that we do tend to be industry focused. So I in particular, I work with Lindy, and we form these kind of collaborations, and every now and then, say for this year, for instance, we're going to meet, and we get to share our projects, and then we get people from industry also giving presentations. So in terms of partnership, yeah, we do partner with industries, and this opportunity offers students the chance to meet people from industry and possibly get placement for either job or internship, and it gives industry people the chance to see what's going on in academia. Yeah, so pretty much the summary about MACC.
Thank you, Anthony. I see a question specifically for Miriam. Sorry, I lost it. Okay, so this student's from Iran as well, and then they have 3-year-old little girl. And do you know if there's any families, places like kindergarten from Iranian nationalities that they could register, or is there a community group for Iranians in Hamilton?
Actually, yeah. I mean, McMaster, they have a community for graduate students. I mean, the Association of Iranian Students. But in Hamilton, I'm not sure. But recently, I signed up for the Facebook. I mean, Facebook, you can find lots of communities like within Hamilton or any city that you want to live. I mean, you can find a community, like a specific community that you are looking for. For example, I myself, I look for a community of moms in Hamilton, and I found it. And anything that you are looking for, you can find it anywhere. And also, I'm external coordinator at SEPTA graduate student in math and McMaster. It's like this graduate student that we are in. I mean, it's really good because it's mostly for SEPT students. We have lots of workshops, and some students, if they want, they can join us to the workshops.
Thank you so much. And then where we only have 3 minutes left and there's still a lot of questions, I will try to touch on as many of them as possible, but I know that there's a lot of housing related questions. So I've shared a link to a webinar in the chat, and it's an hour long, and you will have more information about housing through that webinar. I see there's some questions about campus services. So if you could you just quickly comment about some of the campus services you utilize and if they've been helpful? So when students get here, they're able to utilize them. Anthony, let's start with you. I know you have a meeting to run to, so yeah. Oh, Anthony, you're muted.
Question again. I was just looking at the chat to see if I can pick something to talk about.
Oh, no problem. Did you utilize any campus services from McMaster, and did you find them helpful?
In terms of housing?
No, sorry, in terms of anything. So yeah, so academic or health or employment.
Yeah, so in terms of, I think I've gotten in touch with Anna a few times regarding international issues. So, okay, so the first time was before I came in. It was regarding my visa. So I wrote to, I think, Anna, I don't think she remembers, but then I did contact her. I got referred, and eventually I got the help I needed. And the other one was on taxes. So I went to the tax clinic to learn how to go about doing my taxes. Back home, it wasn't a big deal, but in Canada, it is a big deal, and you want to take it serious because you do get some free money. So I would say those are the two main things that come to mind when it
Thank
comes
you.
to services. Yeah.
Thank you, Anthony. And then for the rest of panelists, you may comment it on like a service I've used or just general tips as we wrap up. So let's start with Mina.
Yeah, I used to like seek help at the career development tutor, and they will give me like some suggestion on how to change my resume, how to develop my cover letter, and something like that. Also provide me some online resources.
Perfect. Thank you. JC?
I think I went to I had a consultation with an immigration consultant that was at Mac once, and that helped me. That helped me at the time. That was good. And I think now there's somebody that is consulting for immigration as well here. And the other tip, I never used it personally, but I think it's a really good service, is the modal service. So if you have any issues with the English language, they can really help you. I've done some of their workshops as part of events that we're running with them, and they are extremely useful in terms of, you know, improving your English. Because here nobody will correct you if you're wrong in English. They won't tell you, oh, that was wrong, you should say it that way. But if you want to improve your English, you need those people. So that's what they're here for. So you should definitely use their service. That's my tip.
Thank you, JC. And I'm aware we're a bit over time. If any of the panelists need to head off somewhere, please feel free to do so. I'm just really thankful that you're here with us. But if you don't have anything urgent, anywhere else to be right now, if you don't mind, could we just stay for another few minutes to address some specific questions?
Yeah. So I guess I'll be one of those people that has to take an early leave. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Anthony.
This, and hopefully I get to see you all sometime. So,
Thanks.
Yeah, enjoy. Yeah, bye.
Bye. Yeah. Okay, I have a question. So there's a question specific for Lakani. How does co-op work? Are you in a co-op program for Master of Engineering? And do you have, like, how does co-op work? And what's your co-op experience?
So, well, very well researched. I am currently doing my co-op. And so I'm actually in this program called Master of Science, where co-op is not necessary. But if you're doing a Master of Engineering program, which is the MEng, it's usually like between 12 to 16 months. I think one co-op it's not optional, it's kind of necessary. So if you're already registered in a co-op program, you'll get your work permit before you come here. You have to apply for it with your study permit. But if you come here and then you want to get into the co-op program, which I did, you have to talk to our co-op advisor, which is Rich Christine. She will give you all the necessary documentation and paperwork. You have to get it signed by your supervisor, and then you have to apply for your work permit as well. Usually it's around, I think for like a 2-year program, it's around, you can do 8 months maximum. And for 16-month program, also you can do around 8 months. Finding a co-op, well, during the pandemic was a little difficult, but otherwise we have a great team in place, and they help you with searching for anything. You have this website called Oscar Plus, which registers all the co-ops, and you can apply to them. You can also apply separately through LinkedIn if you want. And yeah, wait, was there a specific question which they were asking for?
Oh, they were just asking for, sorry, there's a lot of questions in the backlog.
Yeah, I did take a look at the question. So yeah, if you're an MEng student, which is like a 16-month or a 12-month program, you can do a co-op for 8 months.
Perfect, thank you. And if you have any questions about the more details about co-op or for your department, feel free to talk to the program administrators at your department as well, because every faculty or every program may be a little different. So for your program specific questions, it may be best to ask your department.
Or reach out to Rich Christine. She handles everything seamlessly. She's the best person to ask. She heads the co-op team at Webmaster.
Perfect. And I'm aware we're over time, so I'm going to let you go very soon. Does anyone have some last thoughts or tips that they want to share with our incoming students? Something that was not mentioned? Okay, so thank you all for being here. And I'm sorry that we didn't get a chance to get to all the questions. There are a lot of questions. And if you have a question about housing, we have a webinar about off-campus housing for grad students. We also have a webinar about life in Canada and in Hamilton. So they're all on they're on the page that we share through our weekly emails to all the incoming students. And you can find YouTube links there as well. We will also have another student panel Q&A on August 5th. So if you would like to talk a bit more or learn a bit more, feel free to come join us at that session as well. So I want to say thank you again to our panelists and everyone who is answering questions in the background. I really appreciate that. There's a lot of you and there's a lot of questions coming in. And that's all. If you have any questions about grad studies, please email askgrad@mcmaster.ca. If you have any questions about study permit or the postgraduate work permit, please email immigration@mcmaster.ca. And if you don't know where to go, feel free to just email me. I think most of you have know my email through one of our newsletters or through something else. So feel free to reach out to me if you're not sure where to go. So this concludes today's event. Thank you all very much.